Up next, we have a presentation from James Evan Pilato. You know him from MediaMonarchy.com, as well as New World Next Week with James Corbett. James Evan Pilato is here to take us to a little town called Springfield.
Hi, my name's James Evan Pilato. You might remember me from such alternative media outlets as Media Monarchy since 2005 and New World Next Week since 2009 with James Corbett of Corbett Report. Chapter 1. I've been a fan of The Simpsons for all of its life, and most of mine I've been given Simpson gifts when you're a little kid and people know you like something, they start to give you those things. So these are literally products I've had before, the Chia Bart and the bottle opener and weird pasta from Spain or Canada and my cereal bowl and even the t-shirt that I wear. But I don't collect the stuff by any stretch. In 2005, I moved to Portland, Oregon, birthplace of Matt Groening, Simpsons creator, and the show is filled with references to the show, from street names to the Trojan nuclear plant that used to be in our backyard. They actually blew it up. To more street names, Terwilliger, to Montgomery Park, and of course there's also Burnside Street. There's cement drawing of Bart done in the cement by Matt Groening, and even more street names: Burnside, Terwilliger, Kearney, Quimby, Lovejoy, Flanders. And as we noticed earlier, some folks will even draw a little D on the Northeast Flanders to make it say Ned Flanders. There was even recently a Portland-themed episode on December 9th, 2012, all about hipsters moving to Springfield and taking the town over. It starred Carrie Brownstein and Fred Armisen of Portlandia, and also had the Portland band The Decemberists as voices in the episode. My girlfriend and I, Cassie, were both Simpson nerds, and we saw, as part of a comedy fest in Portland last year, they had an early afternoon with The Simpsons, and it was longtime Simpsons writers and creators, folks like Matt Selman, seen here, and also folks like Dana Gould, who I've watched as a comedian for a long, long time. So I was able to meet him outside the show, and we kind of talked and joked about Simpsons stuff. You see I'm wearing the same shirt I'm wearing now. He said I probably get Simpsons stuff like he gets Planet of the Apes things. He's kind of obsessed with Planet of the Apes, which if you follow him on Twitter, you even saw just as the new film came out. He was there at the first showing. And so as the 1990s went by, because you remember, The Simpsons were a huge cultural thing. They were massive. And then the years go by, and then there was South Park, and then there was Family Guy, and most of the people that were into The Simpsons all kind of trailed off and went to kind of those other shows. I always stuck with it. I enjoyed it while I studied it. Once the internet happened, we used to just tape the shows on TV each afternoon. But once the internet happened, I was able to start downloading them from Pirate Bay and things like that, to where for the last several years, I basically have an external hard drive that holds every episode of The Simpsons, and the easy way to just sort of put something on to either fall asleep to or have in the background or whatever is just on the push of a button. Every Simpsons episode ever on random on the computer. So it's something I've always just watched and enjoyed. I think everybody can probably agree that it was only after 9/11 that we started to look back at Simpsons episodes and see some of the interesting symbolism that was there. One of the most infamous bits you guys might all know came pre-9/11, the scene from the episode The City of New York versus Homer Simpson from Season 9, Episode 1 in September 21st, 97. Actually, let's leave it on that. If folks haven't seen that, they're going to go to New York. Oh, I can pay for this, and they show the flyer in 9 with the 11. The filmmakers themselves, or the showrunners, have commented on that and said it was just a coincidence. More recent episodes of The Simpsons, and again, just in these last few years, have had interesting bits of sync with just things going on currently in culture. This still right here. Bart uses a still, or a scene rather, from this movie Pandora Strain, and runs it on the television screens of a cruise ship to make everyone think that actually the ship has a biological outbreak and that they can't go back to shore, because he just wants the vacation to last forever. And it just made me think of, TV fakery and interrupting the media and how the media spreads messages. So more about the more recent syncs in just a bit. It was a big deal to me. After 17 years of smoking, I finally quit on July 15th, 2012. Thank you. And it rocked my world. So, long story short, I got a different job and was doing some different things, trying to sort of change my life in a way. But I needed something to do instead of smoke cigarettes. When you're waiting for the bus, when you're in a city, you find all those moments. Oh, these are all those moments I would have smoked. So I had to find something else to do during those kind of brutal early months. What better time waster than a stupid handheld video game or app game? Enter The Simpsons Tapped Out, a so-called freemium city building app game. Has anybody out there played that on their phone? No. Awesome. Okay. It's a free game. Anybody can download it on your iPhone or Android. And by city building, I mean it's like The Sims, where you slowly are trying to build a city up, and you make the roads and the buildings, and you put people on little tasks to earn money. So in Tapped Out, you slowly rebuild Springfield after Homer causes a nuclear meltdown. That's a more built-up version of the city. And again, you earn money by making characters perform tasks. Here's Cletus. If you make him delouse the youngins for 4 hours, you'll make X amount of money and X amount of experience points. And it's, again, like the Sims. So there's also donuts as a sort of currency in the game. And this is where they actually get you to put your credit card in to actually buy donuts, which will let you buy exclusive premium content in the game. So you can actually play the game and never spend a dollar. But they build it in that they want to get you to start using stuff, using real-world money in-app. So in-app purchases are the holy grail, if you will, of app revenue. And occasionally the Simpsons game has old Gil coming in to kind of sell you something. So the game also features tie-ins with current episodes of The Simpsons. They've already riffed on playing the game within the show, The Simpsons. There's Homer playing it. But a recent quest within the game seemed to kind of come out of nowhere. And if you can see the all-seeing eye in the pyramid there floating above, we reach Chapter 2. Why don't they let me in their crappy club for jerks? The Stonecutters quest started the first week of June 2014, just a couple of months ago. And the first step was to rebuild the Stonecutter Lodge. Do you guys remember the Stonecutters episode of The Simpsons? Okay, because that's from 95. South Park, Family Guy didn't exist. Everybody was still on top of The Simpsons. So it was just weird. It's like, that's a 19-year-old episode of The Simpsons that they're kind of resurrecting as content on this brand new app game. So the first step, rebuild the Stonecutter Lodge. And interestingly enough, simultaneously, the game then let you, because as you play the game more, you get more characters and there's more to kind of keep track of. They added this feature that lets you spy on all your characters. Through City Hall, you can see where everybody is and double check that, oh, okay, everybody's on a task and they're earning money, which makes you progress through the game. And Quimby here says, actually, the new NSA-fied census knows where everyone is and what they're doing all the time. So this was accompanied by the floating spy camera icon over the buildings that you can see there. So as you would spy on people, and again, it gets you to sort of, the more you play, the more you want to play, and the more it rewards you for playing more. But again, the NSA spy on all your people feature of the game. So when you finish rebuilding the Stonecutter Lodge, you get a new character to play with, number 1, which you may remember was Patrick Stewart in the show, did the voice. You then set about earning scrolls as the sort of special Stonecutters currency while this quest was going on. So you earn scrolls by spying on your neighbors. The more you stay on top of where they are, the more scrolls you earn, and the more it kind of progresses along. All the while progressing through the quest with each task completed, and we can see here number 1 even talking about spying. And much like the original Simpsons show, the game is created by a lot of the writers and producers of the show, so it feels like it's of a piece, and you can tell that it's coming from the same folks and the same jokes and the same kind of storylines. So it's full of current social and political commentary. Here, number 1 of the lodge is, information should be free, except for the elite's information. And much like the original Homer the Great episodes, that's the actual title of the Stonecutters episode, the same characters are involved with the secret Stonecutters Society. So whether that's the mayor, Quimby, or Krusty the Clown. And who else at this point but Lisa would begin to investigate the Stonecutters takeover within the game. And she's saying, strange, this symbol, the Stonecutter symbol, pops up at interesting turning points in American history. Here it is at a pilgrim settlement. And she's talking again about the Stonecutters symbol seen on the scrolls you're earning. Here it is at a pilgrim settlement. Here it is at the Battle of Gettysburg. And Homer says, what are you doing, Dad? Why are you connected to this? Well, I'm not reading this book about witchcraft and Masonic lodges. So just like in the original episode, we discover that every man Homer has the mark, your birthmark. It's the symbol. And then we kind of laugh about it, and Homer calls it his Stonecutter mark. So while Lisa tries to find more about the Stonecutters' takeover of the town, again, putting characters on tasks earns you money, and the more tasks you complete, the more it kind of lets you go through the game. So here, put Lisa on the task for 12 hours to steal Stonecutter documents, and you earn money and experience points. And again, the more you play, the further it'll move you along, the more the game kind of goads you into playing more. So they roll out certain things at certain times of the year, for Easter, for Christmas. At Halloween, they put zombies in the town, and you've got to make sure you kind of keep squashing all the zombies. When they rolled out the Stonecutters game, there were strange hooded men that are running around the town that you have to kind of tap and eliminate, and they called them the Order, and they would kind of keep coming back. So while Lisa's working on a mystery, Grandpa pops up to remind us, I'm a member. And again, followed by social commentary, where number one even says, oh, we've got to review our euthanasia policy. So it has jokes about eugenics. And the quest goes on to include political shenanigans that the Stonecutters are trying to pass a law that gives Springfield over to the Stonecutters. And even references to the futility of protesting a semi-satanic lodge. Number one here saying, a semi-satanic lodge with absolute power can't be taken down by hand-drawn signs. Come now, have you any idea the benefits of powerful friends? He's trying to get Bart to be involved in the Stonecutters. He's there actually just trying to steal the documents for Lisa, which is part of the quest. So they even make fun of the corn lobby. They try and get Krusty the Clown to put corn in everything he makes. And this would be references of what I've coined and called the Food World Order, which I think is a huge part of this system that we're trying to sort of expose and talk about. So number one, ask Krusty to sell more corn, and Krusty makes the joke that everything is made out of corn, and that's true if you look at what's been happening to food. So we see it and we kind of laugh about it. So my sidebar quickly here, I used to work at a grocery store. I quit smoking, which made me feel like, holy crap, I should be doing something else with my life. Frustrated. I got a job doing commercial radio. So it was like I worked at a health store and was a little bit unhealthy. I got much healthier and now work in an environment of mass commercial media in a way. So I find myself kind of having to fight this battle, and life is all about compromises. So that's just my quick sidebar as to the weird spot that I am right now, and sort of one foot in alternative media, Media Monarchy, which is mine and will always be mine, but then also trying to do commercial radio as James Pilato, radio producer and engineer, and keep those things separate. I don't know. Sidebar over. Kent Brockman, the only regular sort of journalist on The Simpsons, notes that Lisa Simpson start to, get on this Stonecutter thing. The network might have to actually, investigate this Stonecutters thing. So number one says, well, maybe you just need to get on the media and, distract people with, crackpot theories. A fear-inducing crackpot theory or three. So then you put Kent Brockman on task to spread crackpot theories on the news, like, is the moon slowly killing us? And they had several others. So to halt this takeover, Bart comes up with the idea to get women to vote against the Stonecutters bill since they're excluded from being in the club naturally. So then you put the women and children on task in the game to vote against the Stonecutter law. So then it's mission accomplished, and number one says their plans have been thwarted, but the quest still moves forward. Lisa's asking more questions, and noting how can we remain vigilant when we're constantly distracted by text and celebrity nip slips and electronic candy. And again, the game kind of uses humor to kind of screw with you. You get this little pop-up that says, perhaps for a few minutes a day, you should take a break from your devices, just to make sure you're not being controlled by a secret organization. and you press OK on that, and then another window pops up from the game maker, EA Games, that says, please ignore the previous message. Everything is fine. Never stop playing. Here are some donuts to squelch any doubt. They give you the primo currency in the game. So as the quest wrapped up, more symbols were rolled out as prizes. Here's the chest of sacred artifacts, because Number One notes no better opiate than shiny new trinkets. And I mentioned the Holy Grail earlier, as again, you go through tasks and you get more awards. You get that as a prize, too. You get the Ark of the Stone Covenant in the game. But inside these ancient artifacts, Homer discovers there's just a piece of paper inside. It's magic words. True wealth is measured by the number of people who call you friend. Number One's, that's bullshit. So the quest kind of ends with a strange whimper. And the way these quests usually go is there's a time limit. So you're basically, again, they want you to play as much as they can get you to play, because the quest is going to end on such and such a date. And if you haven't achieved those certain goals, all those things go away. So whatever, neat toys and trinkets and new characters you were going to get during the quest, once it's over, you can't get those anymore. So they kind of move along. So the quest just kind of ends, and Homer makes the joke that America stinks and we had a good run, and that it's the Cylons' turn to run us now, Battlestar Galactica reference. So we reach Chapter 3, and you guys remember the Stonecutters song as they kind of ask, who rigs every Oscar night, who controls the British pound, all of those things. We do. So, as I noted, Tapped Out has special quests and promotions on holidays like Christmas, and the whole sort of look of the game world changes with each of those. So during Christmas, your town is all covered with snow and all of that. They have Easter, where, we talked about collecting scrolls, or you collect Easter eggs for Easter-related prizes and things. Or sometimes they just roll out updates that keep it within the world of The Simpsons, things that they've talked about, or places and things that they have within the world of the show, like the Squid Port. So it's interesting that whenever you start the game and load it, can you guys see at the bottom every time you log on, it says it's synchronizing. And I wasn't thinking about that, but as this event started to get closer was when I really started to put together this, because obviously this, like I said, this quest was started in June. So this is fairly recent. I think initially, you start big and you start to whittle it down. This presentation was going to be my full-on, top-to-bottom, beginning-to-end expose of every crazy thing that's ever been in The Simpsons. You realize that's never going to happen. Let's bring it down to a manageable topic. So that's interesting that it does say that it's synchronizing, and I started to sync more with this as I was putting this presentation together. I wondered and we asked this question earlier, why would they roll out this storyline from a 19-year-old episode? And in going back and looking was there any significance of this time? And I wondered, wasn't that when the Bilderberg meeting was this year? And I looked up the dates, and I double-checked the, Tapped Out Simpsons nerd community to check the dates, and they line up exactly. The Stonecutters quest on the Simpsons Tapped Out game simultaneously ran with this year's Bilderberg conference. What does that mean? Was that planned? I couldn't say, and I think that's why I a lot of times just try and bring the information. That's why I've been so happy to just be hanging out with all you guys this weekend in a way, because I'll try and bring the information, but I can't say why or who or what, and hopefully that's for all the other folks to do. So it also, I remembered, during the middle of this quest, the Stonecutters quest back in June, I reached level 42 in the game. So as I was putting this presentation together for the Sync Summit, and it was getting closer, and I looked, I was like, what? Oh, what level am I on? I'm currently on level 43, I think, but I hit level 42 in the middle of all this and in the middle of kind of putting this together. So I knew you guys would enjoy the 42 aspect. So as I noted earlier, there have been numerous syncs in more recent episodes, in post 9/11 Simpsons episodes. Like a really recent one where they have a disaster drill that Kent Brockman on television tells you about. And they say that it is just an exercise, but then he jokes that that's what they would want you to think so you don't actually panic. And it's those kind of things that within the show that, again, I'd love to sort of formally document a lot of these moments. But going into all of the hidden pyramids, here they're digging through Malibu Stacy dolls. They're basically this is the cut rate bin of crappy Malibu Stacy dolls that no one wants, like Achy Breaky Stacy and Stacy at the Improv, but these down in the bottom right corner. You can't tell, I don't know what name they have, but they're the all-seeing eye Malibu Stacy doll that have the pyramid in the eye. So here's another one. This is a much more recent episode. You see a shot of the computer for a quick second that talks about the 7 essential truths about pyramid power, and it's got weather and Satan and 666 and gender and heart and lightning and money. So I again, not being able to go into all of those moments of all of those either intentional or happenstance or synchronicity or whatever it may be within the show, and the writers have changed throughout the years. It's been interesting to wonder about the change of writers as the show has gone on, who obviously are paying attention to what we just call conspiracy culture. I mean, I was joking with somebody earlier, the Weird Al video. I mean, obviously, conspiracy culture has reached kind of such a mainstream point that it can't not be discussed. And with someone like Weird Al, I mean, he's just kind of scooping up a lot of pop culture, the Illuminati part just being one more kind of recent thing. So that is something I'd like to go into more and more in the future, is start to kind of document all of the strange syncs and storylines and images and all of those things in the show. You can't quite, I don't know if you can quite see it there. They're driving by the 33-cent store here. But in just the closing, the Simpsons are still currently going strong and even kind of enjoying a resurge. There's a live variety show coming up just next month on September 12th through the 14th at the Hollywood Bowl, and Conan O'Brien is going to be there and sing the Monorail song, which he actually wrote that episode and wrote all those songs. So he's going to be there singing it. I think this is where I tried to work in my GIF that just wasn't going to happen. Oh. Yeah. So there's also, if you guys have heard about this, there's this crazy mega marathon of every single episode of The Simpsons back to back to back to back to back for 12 days straight, coming up on FXX on August 21st. They're also rolling out an app as well that's going to have every single episode. So it's almost like they've kind of gone open source in a way to sort of say, the show's been going on so long, just hear all the episodes, just have them. So the news, because a lot of news sites have talked about, this marathon coming up, because they have talked about, the Simpsons are going to break the internet once they roll out this marathon and everybody's trying to stream all these free Simpsons episodes. So as I looked around for news, I immediately saw one site was using a Homer the Great still in their post to talk about this new Simpsons marathon. Again, of all the things in The Simpsons to use, it's like, why do they keep kind of coming back to that one? This upcoming, it's going to be the 26th season that starts soon, and there's rumors of they're going to kill off the Krusty the Clown character in the show. And the season is actually going to start on September 28th with a Family Guy crossover, which they've talked about for a long, long time. They've started to roll out, I think there's a few scenes and things that you can see on the web, and I didn't discover this myself, someone else pointed it out. I mean, there's only a little bit that they've shown, and in that little bit that they've shown, one of the stills already shows, if you can see just right there next to Peter, the all-seeing eye as you enter the town of Springfield. So even in the small points of Simpsons bits, there's the sort of occult nature within there. So I think as long as pop culture questions stay, The Simpsons will still sink. So for the epilogue, we could ask the audience if there are any questions. Because I know the amazing thing is, I think even you said, you're like, do you know all the Simpsons connections to Olympia? Sure, no, I don't. So, Dave?
Oh, I just wanted to mention that I had a encounter with one of the writers of The Simpsons, and I can't remember his name at this point. I actually just went into a comic store for other reasons, and he was supposed to be doing a signing thing, and no one was there. And I just got to talk to this guy for a while, and I brought up to him an episode of Futurama where Bender is floating in space, and he meets God, and he talks to him, and it's like a constellation that's like lighting, and it says, God says, you know, if you do something perfect, people won't be sure you've done anything at all. And this is like what God has to say. And then they actually repeat it at the end of the episode. And I asked this guy about that. I was like, that tripped me out. I thought about that so much. And I was like, what do you study? Like, what are you into? And he looked at me and he said, we study everything. We're into everything. And he literally said this, will only let us show so much of what we want to show. And so we do a little dabble here, and we do a little dabble there. But if it was up to us, we'd communicate a lot more of that kind of thing than we do.
I really got the impression at the afternoon with the Simpsons, the Comedy Fest thing, where it was they talked for a little bit, but it was mostly a Q&A, and I got a sense of really how actually bitter a lot of the writers and producers were of the Simpsons specifically, because they sort of felt like, you know, we built Fox Network, and they just always still felt like they were kind of always treated like crap, and they never spent any money on them, and it was just, we left the place being like, those guys don't sound really happy about their time there, but...
No, they're 666, because Fox, so F is the sixth letter of the alphabet, O is the 15th, 5 plus 1 is 6, X is the 24th letter of the alphabet, 4 plus 2 is 6, 666 Fox. So that's, I'm sure a lot of people here know that, but...
That's what's so subversive about like Republican kind of like family values, but yet they premiere with like shows like
Married with Children and Simpsons. I mean, again, we were probably growing up at that time where those were the married. I wasn't allowed to watch Married with Children. Kids at school, not allowed to wear Bart Simpson T-shirts. You're right. There were our sort of moral panic at the time. You're reminding me, Harry Shearer, one of the main voice actors who does Mr. Burns and a ton of the voices on the show. He made a weird movie several years ago that you can get on disc through Netflix called The Teddy Bear's Picnic, and it may actually have an alternate title, but it's basically about Bohemian Grove, where politicians all go away to this event, and there's a journalist who's just a waiter, or rather a waiter who gets in touch with the journalist there. So again, people involved with the making of the show are absolutely involved in either the study or more with what you're just saying, with secret societies, with the occult, with everything. Anybody else?
Well,
No?
Other than the lodge work, even before they were doing the Masonic lodge stuff in the Simpsons, they always had him kind of breaking open the head and taking psychedelics and mushrooms. And there was at least 2 or 3 episodes where Homer like went on this pilgrimage to like basically go through all the trees of Sephiroth and like break free using psychedelics and then coming back to reality again. So obviously the writers are interested in that. They're interested in occult sciences. It's like phase work.
Absolutely. Yeah, of course, the mysterious voyage of Homer, the super psychedelic episode with Johnny Cash in there as well. So I think I tried to think up something that we could sort of continue the talk if this were to go on. So hashtag Simpsons Sinks. Folks out there, and of course, email me as well for all of those things that I can't remember, and I would love to start to document this, and that would be something that I've wanted to do for a long, long time, but just always seemed kind of daunted by the task of documenting now a show that's still going on after 26 years. So that's my talk on Simpsons Sinks. So,
I was going to tell you that so Matt Groening went to Evergreen.
Yes.
And so there are he's encoded some Olympia stuff. There's a bar downtown called Ben Moore's that was the template for Moe's. And there's an interesting story about him that doesn't really have it's just an interesting story about him when he left Evergreen. He was one of the editors of the Cooper Point Journal, and he did his last issue was this biting satire of the faculty, and he was sort of like his big fuck you on his way out, and totally, for a while he was sort of he was seen as sort of, oh, that guy, I can't believe he said that. He was very Guevara, I guess, on his way out.
Yeah.
And but now all those professors are like, look, want to keep that
Oh yeah.
Oh, Matt Groening made fun of me.
Yeah, and probably even inflate. They're like, oh yeah, I knew. I let him do it. I was cooler than.
And
that.
when he came back to speak at Evergreen's graduation, like 10, 12 years ago, he said that that he always saw Lisa Simpson as growing up and going to Evergreen. So, which is I don't know. She's the conscience of the show. Right?
Yeah.
So
absolutely.
I didn't know that he was from Portland.
Yeah, born and raised. All right, that's Simpsons Sinks. Thank you.
On a scale of 1 to 10, she's blue again, but she's not the same sad girl you knew back when. You can try with all your meager might to find the key to the unraveling of the mystery. She hides herself behind the mystery. You're gonna find another mystery behind the mystery you find, but you won't mind. She's off the scale of 1 to 10 and back again. But don't you dare try asking her where she's been. You can try with all your meager might to find a rock that's big and wide enough for you and all your friends to hide behind. The mystery, you're gonna find another mystery behind the mystery you find, but you won't mind. Behind the mystery, you're gonna find another mystery behind the mystery you find. Behind the mystery, you're gonna find another